Thank you, sir. Eka mbuze, Aloysius Mukasa. Kwa kuita ku album no chogenda yo. Thank you. I want to appreciate whoever has come today. I see members of parliament. Thank you for coming through. Honorable David Serukenya from Makinde Sabagabo. Honorable Aloysius Mukasa, who just led us in the anthem from Rubaga South. I see a couple of councillors. Councillors, kindly stand.
People power, our power, people power.
Thank you for coming through. It's good especially to see the Honorable Serukuma getting used. It's as if he's not been to jail. And he was there for, 8 months? And he's already fitting in. It's good to see you, sir. And then everybody else, thank you for coming through. I see Jajana Lusiva. Some of you say people power and then UP is just for the young people. No, it's for everybody that is interested in change. So it's good to see you. It's good to see everybody else. Thank you for coming through. All right, I'll quickly go to a couple of issues that we would like to address as a party. Number one is the question of security. Now, we saw the address by Mr. Museveni last week, and as far as we are concerned, a lot was left to be desired. There's many things that just did not add up. And here's why. Mr. Museveni in his address insinuated that the ongoing bombings could be tethered to sectarianism, certain ideologies, political ideologies, and even insinuated could be tethered to certain religious affiliations. That was a very worrying insinuation, because what that means is that they are going to go after the wrong people. That they will probably begin going after politicians, that they will begin going after certain religious affiliations, as has happened in the past. Because you remember, when Abilika was killed, Kawesi and several others, they went to mosques and they raided people and arrested them, tortured them. Eventually, these people turned out to be innocent and they were let off the hook by court. So when we had these insinuations by him, we got concerned, because it means that he and his people are now going to go after the wrong people, shooting offside. They'll go after politicians, like I've said, certain religions, etc., etc. Meanwhile, the real criminals, the real perpetrators, will not be gotten, and they just might continue to do what they are doing, which is very worrying. And so our appeal is that let's get serious as far as security is concerned. We should not in any way politicize security. We should not try to make it a religious issue, because then we miss the mark. Then we shoot offside, and the real culprits will keep doing what they're doing because we are not going after them. So as NUP, we would like to appeal that sobriety prevails, that we use sober heads, and that's how we shall be able to deal with the ongoing insecurity challenges. Our other appeal as the NUP is one of the challenges in as far as investigations are concerned is because there's limited funding that goes especially to the element of investigations. When you look at the security budget, it is huge, but it goes to many other things. When you look at classified, it is in trillions of shillings, 3.8 trillion classified. But what is it doing if it cannot be used to make sure investigations are carried out? So that is still lacking. And we are saying, if we are serious about keeping Ugandans safe, let's strengthen the arm of investigations. That's very important. You remember recently in Masaka, as the killings were ongoing there, one of the OC, an OC from Bukoma Nsimbi, called Maurice Abongo, was speaking to members of parliament on the Defense and Internal Affairs Committee, explaining to them their challenges. And the man said, we only have one police truck for this entire, sub-region. Many times it does not even have fuel. And he said, people call us to come and rescue them, but we cannot go. If the truck doesn't have fuel, I earn a small salary as a police officer, I can't fuel it myself. And so, they are handicapped. And when he said these things, you remember he was arrested on the orders of Security Minister Jim Muhwezi Katugugu. So Muhwezi, instead of dealing with the issues that were being raised by the police officer Bongo, he decided to instead arrest him, which is extremely unfortunate. But that shows you the challenges there are. That shows you why we are where we are today. We are failing to address many issues. We are failing to investigate. We are failing to dig up information, gather information, because those particular elements, those particular arms of security, if you like, are not facilitated properly. So the huge budget goes to do many other things, and not this, which is very critical. So perhaps if we are strengthening this very area, chances are high would not be where we are today. The UK warned us about bombings, but we didn't take it serious. We did not do our research as should have been. So as NUP, we feel this area needs to be strengthened. The other area that we think is important to strengthen is training of our officers. It's very possible they do not have adequate training. Some time back, certain media houses did an interview with former Deputy IGP, Julius Odwe. And one of his concerns was that the current crop of police operatives are not as properly trained as those of back in the day. That's a former IGP. Speaking based on, the former Deputy IGP, speaking based on what he was superintending over and what the situation is currently. So it's very possible majority of these operatives are not adequately trained. Majority of our officers who are meant to go out there, gather information, do investigations, are not adequately trained. So this is important too. Some Museveni many times will focus on SFC, take them for trainings across the world and so on. But this is important too for the entire country. So we think that adequate attention needs to be paid on this matter. On the question of vaccination, it's important that as many Ugandans as can get vaccinated. We have previously used examples of other countries where people opened up a long time ago. You go to football matches and you find droves and droves of people attending. Why? Because they did what they were supposed to do. They made sure a large chunk of their population gets vaccinated. And it's what we have been calling for here. Money was appropriated and we have been saying, where is the accountability for this money that was allocated to make sure we get to have vaccines? Now, something we are beginning to see is a push by certain entities to lock out people, either from services or whatever the case might be, if they are not vaccinated. We have seen some RDCs excitedly say that, for me in my entire district, if you're not vaccinated, you don't come to our offices to access services. I'm seeing Parliament trying to jump onto that bandwagon too, saying nobody, including the general public, whatever the case might be, even when you have issues that you think Parliament should address, as is always the case, don't come if you're not vaccinated. The presumption is there is enough vaccines for everybody to get vaccinated. We don't believe that Ugandans don't want to get vaccinated. Matter of fact, many Ugandans want to get vaccinated so that they get back to work. Of course, vaccinated with the right medicines, because there was a concern sometime, people being injected with water. But we believe in science. But the challenge there has been is that less than 3 million people have so far been vaccinated. Now, the reason we only have about 3 million people vaccinated is not because the rest of the 40 plus million Ugandans don't want to get vaccinated. No, it's because the vaccines are not available. That's a fact. People go to these vaccination centers, they wait for the entire day, and in the evening they're told it has run out. We shall let you know when next we shall have another batch. And so they go back home. So people want to get vaccinated. Can you avail the vaccines? Before you think of locking them out of certain offices, before you think of locking them out of certain services, because soon they might even say you cannot access government hospitals if you don't have a vaccination card. But where are the vaccines for Ugandans to get vaccinated? I heard Mr. Museveni say that by December, we shall have 21 million vaccines in the country, and that by December, over 12 million Ugandans will have been vaccinated. I thought it was a joke, because where is the plan to make sure of that? You see, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will lead you there. So when you set a target, show the path going to that target. So we'd like to see from Mr. Museveni and his team, where is the plan to show that by December we shall have 21 million vaccines and that over 12 million Ugandans will have been vaccinated? Where is that plan? Show us to see that we are getting by this date so many vaccines as donations. We are getting by this date so many vaccines that we are procuring, buying, and so on. We'd like to see that plan. It's non-existent. That's why he doesn't talk about it. He will only excitedly talk about 21 million vaccines by December, 12 million people vaccinated, and so on. But there's no clear plan. And that's our problem. So as leaders, we must take these matters seriously. You don't just make projections without a clear plan to that. And then in the meantime, you're saying, we are going to lock out people from certain services because they're not vaccinated. First, provide the vaccines. Make sure they are available before you think that people don't want to get vaccinated. Ugandans want to get vaccinated because they want the economy to open up. They want to get back to school. People, they want to get back to businesses and so on and so forth. People want to get back to work. There are certain professionals that have never worked since the first lockdown in 2020. And they say, we want to get back to work. Where are the vaccines? So we think that the excitement from some government officials needs to calm down. First, play your part. Ugandans are willing and ready to get vaccinated, but please avail the vaccines. Otherwise then, do you want them to manufacture vaccines in their homes and inject themselves with that? What do you want people to do? And again, the challenge with that is the laissez-faire attitude of government and its officials. People like to operate in a sloppy manner, in a lackluster manner. That they don't attach seriousness to certain things. Look, for example, at the recent saga at the airport. The government decides to take over and say, we are taking over to make sure everybody that's coming in gets to be tested. And then you're making people wait for 10 hours. They will not want to come back to our country. They will not. Why? Because if they can go elsewhere and things are a lot smoother, why should they come back here? So that shows you the sloppiness of government. Can we get serious for the betterment of our country? Sometimes I hear government officials who will say that some of us who are opposed to it, and I've heard them accuse even you in the media, that you speak ill of your country, that you write stories that are not good about your country, and so on and so forth. But truth be told, many times actually government fails itself. Many times you don't need to write a story or tell it on TV or radio. We don't even need to talk about these things. They're evident for people to see. So can we get serious? Can we stop playing around with things that are serious? One of our recommendations, for example, as far as the airport situation is concerned, bring in other players. Because previously there has been one player who monopolized the entire process. And that's a problem, because they will determine whatever price they want, because you don't have an alternative. But once there's several other players, it does two critical things. Speed. Because there's many people to go to. So if a line to this particular testing, private facility is long, I'll go to another, and another, and another. So that means there's efficaciousness. But two, the prices will come down because now there's competition. So if the other one is high, somebody will go where it is low. So then the other one also will know, since there's competition, I need to lower mine. So that's why it's important to bring other people on board. It is proven, it is tested that government is lousy at doing business. So let's try and make things work the right way. The other issue that is of concern to us as the National Unity Platform is the continued insistence by Mr. Museveni and his people to strap bail. I'm glad that Ugandans are rejecting this criminal scheme, because that's what it is. The Constitution is very clear as far as this is concerned. See how, for example, our colleagues, the Honorable Sewanyana Alan and the Honorable Segirinya Mohammed, are being treated. Because that's the target of Mr. Museveni. Those who are opposed to him, let's go after them. Arrest you, keep you there, no bail. They are in very bad shape. Extremely bad shape, very worrying. And the latest we hear about the Honorable Segirinya is it's not even clear which hospital he's been taken to, because they first put him at Marchand Bay. Then eventually we learned that he was taken to Mulago, Ward 6, thereabout. And some of the information we get is that sometimes he convulses. Nobody is allowed to access him. Not his family, not his lawyers, nobody is allowed to access him, establish what situation he's in. We have been making the clarion call to say, look, these for certain leaders, they're not going to run away or that kind of thing. Please release them so that they can access better healthcare. What will Mr. Museveni and these people tell Ugandans if Segirinya dies, for example, in this drama? Because it is drama, really. People's lives are at stake. You have seen the man show his wounds and so on. And now here he's in, they keep oscillating in between Marchand Bay and Mulago, and some of the information we're getting from some sources that are able to access, medics and so on, is that the man sometimes convulses. So why doesn't government want to let him go and access better healthcare? Are they waiting for him to die and then they say, okay, now he's an MP, we are going to give him a state funeral? Is that what makes sense? So this really is a warning to government that the lives of these our colleagues and several others, if anything happens to them, their blood is on your hands. So, as far as bail is concerned, our call is that Ugandans continue to reject this diabolical scheme, this evil scheme. Please reach out to your members of parliament, wherever they are, and push and insist that this does not pass. The plan to remove bail, because ultimately everybody will be a victim. Everybody will be a victim, because all of us are potential for arrest and bail, for that matter. And that's something that needs to sink into the minds of even our colleagues in the NRM. None of them is above the law. In fact, our colleagues in the NRM need to wake up to the reality that the person pushing for the scrapping of bail, Mr. Museveni, has got immunity under the Constitution. The rest of them don't have that immunity. And any of them can be arrested today and they will require bail. So that is something that needs to sink into the minds of our colleagues in the NRM, in Parliament and elsewhere. Mr. Museveni, who is trying to set up this trap for you to fall into, has got immunity. At least for now. Although he also needs to know that a time will come when he could be a candidate for bail. So we need to proceed with caution. As NUP, we have said severally, there's remedies around this situation. Make investigations quick and swift. Because why should investigations take years, for heaven's sake? Well, what are you trying to dig up that you have not found? If you're competent enough, you should have found it. So let's make investigations quick and swift so that criminals, don't get to be out there in the public, perhaps causing more harm. But how do you make sure of that? By carrying out swift and quick investigations. All right, I'll just quickly translate this into Uganda and perhaps pick one or two questions. So, number one, ensonga y'ebyokwerinda. Mwami Museveni mwamulabye ng'ayogera eri eggwanga wiiki ewedde, ne mu bye yayogera yalinga agamba nti zino zibbomu ezize zikanyugibwa ziina akakwate ku nsonga y'amadiini, ziina akakwate ku nsonga y'abya politics n'ebirala. Bw'atyo we yalinga akivuga. Kati kitegeeza Mwami Museveni ne banne bagenda tandika kugendera nabyabufuzi, kugendera madiini agamu, era nga bwe kize kibeera. Mujjukira Abiriga bamutaka Wesi n'abalala bagendanga mu mizikiti ne bayoola buli aliyo, ne babatwala ne babatulugunya. Eventually court nebata ati balina musango naye nga babonodde ebiseera babatulugunyisa bali bubi. So kati ffe tugamba nti Mwami Museveni bw'anaasigaza endowooza eno bajja gendera abantu abakyamu, ate nga abakozi b'ebikolobero bino bajja sigala nga beetaayaaya nga bakola enteekateeka ate zikola ebikolobero ebirala. So ffe tugamba nti ensonga eno tugikwase n'amagezi, tugikwate mu ngeri ya kintu kikulu era mu ngeri ya kikulembeze, tusobole okutegeerera ddala baani abakola obulabe ku bannayuganda. Ffe nga NUP tulaba wakyaliwo obuzibu mu nsonga y'okunoonyereza. Okusookera ddala bannaffe abanoonyereza obubondo obunoonyereza mu poliisi naki tebulina na ssente zimala, ate nga poliisi bw'otunulira bajeti yayo, security, defense ne zino eza classified obutabalika busatu n'okweyongerayo zigenda mu bintu birala, naye bano abalina okukola okunoonyereza mwattu tebayambibwa okukola emirimu gyabwe. Kyovudde olaba okunoonyereza mu ggwanga lyaffe lino kukolebwa myaka ku myaka nga tebiggwa. Mujja kujjukira omwezi oguwedde September, ababaka kakiiko aka defense bagenda e Masaka nakitta bantu ali e Masaka, bali bawaya mukono omupoliisi omu ayitibwa Morris Abongo osi Bukomansimbi, n'ababuulira amazima n'abagamba nti kakati obuzibu obuliwo. Kyokera ddala wano tulina emmotoka ya poliisi emu, kitundu kino ekinene kyonna kyonna, emmotoka eyo ebiseera ebisinga teriimu n'amafuta. Ezo omupoliisi funa akasente katono siyinza kugamba nti kiteekemu amafuta. N'abagamba nti oluusi abantu babayita nga bali muzibu naye nga tebalina ngeri gye babatuukako. Abongo yayogera ebigambo bino Jim Muhwezi Katugu, security minister, n'amusiba. And then gazetted. This has not happened. So it is an illegal directive. And as far as some of us are concerned, when something is illegal, it should be vacated. So we are hoping that the Deputy Speaker, being the lawyer she is, she will realize that that directive has got no place within the law. But most importantly, when you say that so MPs, staff members, and even the general public who are not vaccinated cannot access Parliament. Because you see, that Parliament is a public institution. We represent the people. And so it's important that we interface with the people. Many times they come to bring, whether it be petitions or certain concerns to us as MPs, as chairpersons of committees, etc., etc. Now when you say we are locking you out of this service, which you deserve, simply because you're not vaccinated, it's problematic. Especially because we don't have enough vaccines as we speak today to make sure that those who should be vaccinated are vaccinated. Like we're saying, only 3 million people, under 3 million, have been vaccinated. Not because others don't want to be vaccinated, no, but it's because there are no vaccines. Where are those vaccines? So, can we focus our energies not on locking people out of services, whether it be by Parliament, RDCs, and so on? Let's focus our energies on getting vaccines. And so I'd like to see the leadership of Parliament focusing more on making sure government brings in vaccines, not on locking people out. which people are being locked out because they cannot access these vaccines. Where are they? Because wherever they put them, they run out very quickly because Ugandans are rushing to go and get these vaccines. So let's not shoot offside, in my view, off tangent. Right now, the priority should be on making sure we get adequate vaccines. And the leadership of Parliament has got a place in making sure of that. So we think that our energies would be better channeled if we were agitating and pushing government to bring in adequate vaccines. Once we have adequate vaccines, then we can see how we incentivize Ugandans to get the vaccines. Because right now, I don't think the challenge is that Ugandans don't want to get vaccinated. No. The real challenge is we don't have enough vaccines. So let's address that before we assume only 3 million have been vaccinated because others don't want. Have you availed the vaccines and they refuse to get vaccinated? Ensonga eyo eya Oweekitiibwa Deputy Speaker kyeyalangiridde nti ababaka abakozi ba Paalamenti n'abantu ba bulijjo abatannagemebwa akawuka ka COVID tebajja kukkirizibwa mu Paalamenti okusookera ddala ekiragiro ekyo kimenya amateeka. Kubanga amateeka agamba ki? Yes, biragiro nga bino biyinza okuyisibwa Ministry y'ebyobulamu. Era amateeka galambika bulungi ebiragiro ebyo biyisibwa bitya nga statutory instruments eventually ne babiteeka mu gazette, Uganda Gazette. Ekyo tekinnakolebwa. Era nkakasa Oweekitiibwa Deputy Speaker kubanga naye munnamateeka kakasa akimanyi ekyo. So ffe tugamba nti essira era tugamba nti n'obukulembeze bwa Paalamenti, ofisi ya Speaker, Deputy Speaker, essira tulise mu kulaba nti gavumenti ereeta eddagala ery'okugema bannayuganda. Awo wewali ekinyusi awo kubanga munaye bannayuganda bangi tebannagemebwa si nti tebaagala, eddagala teririiwo. Obukadde 3 bwokka bwe bakagemebwa, abalala bonna tebannagemebwa si nti tebaagala, baagala munnange. Bannayuganda baagala baddeyo ku mirimu gyabwe naki naye tewali ddagala. So ffe tugamba nti Oweekitiibwa Deputy Speaker n'abakulembeze abalala tusinge kunyiga gavumenti gigamba nti kaakati eddagala tulyanguye awo we tuba tunywezaawo kubanga ekikikola amakulu. Otherwise then eggwanga lyonna kaakati tugenda wattu tukola tutya? Tunagamba nti kaakati terinagenda mu ddwaliro ya gavumenti oba tebannakugema, terinagenda wa nakiba tebannakugema, ate ng'abantu bangi tebannagemebwa ge mazima. Lwaki? Tewali ddagala. So ffe tugamba nti essira era n'amaanyi agasinga gonna tugase mu kulaba nti gavumenti ereeta eddagala eriwerera ddala bannayuganda bagemebwe. Thank you. Yes, sir. Now the questions have come.
With due
Yes,
respect, you have not answered the question. You have done like this. The question is, the Speaker has issued an order which you are characterizing as illegal. What are you going to do about it? Are you defying the order? First of all, are you even vaccinated yourself? If you can't speak for the rest of the members of Parliament, we can understand that you have not yet met to agree on the point of what you are going to be doing. As for you, Joel, and as for you, NUP, which you speak for, what are you going to do in respect to the order that you are not allowed to at Parliament when you are not vaccinated?
So, we shall definitely access Parliament. We shall not necessarily have to show our COVID-19 vaccine card because there is no law that requires that. What we want to do is get to Parliament tomorrow and engage with the Speaker on the floor of Parliament. Because, by the way, matters governing Parliament, how it is run regarding members, staff and the general public, they are passed on the floor of Parliament. They are handled by the entire House, not just one individual. So, we are going to engage the Speaker as far as this is concerned, and we shall tell her what I have just told you. That, Madam, number one, this order has got no place in law. But most importantly, we would like that leaders of your magnitude and others in this country, that we focus on pushing government to bring in vaccines, as opposed to trying to lock Ugandans out of services. Because once it begins with Parliament, and that's our worry, once it begins with Parliament, tomorrow You're going to hear Ministry of Health saying, for anyone to access a government hospital, you must have a vaccination card. That means many Ugandans are going to die because they won't be able to access. Why? They are not vaccinated. Why are they not vaccinated? The vaccines are not adequate. So that's our concern, that once we let it happen with Parliament, a precedent will have been set. And so you're going to hear everybody else saying the same thing. If you're not vaccinated, don't come to our offices, don't come to government hospitals, don't come to government offices to access services and so on. And that is not only illegal, it is unfair because you are judging these people wrongly. They are not even refusing to be vaccinated. They want to, but where are the vaccines? So that's what we intend to engage with the Speaker tomorrow on the floor of Parliament. Olunaku lw'enkya floor ya Parliament. Ensonga eno ey'ekiragiro ekyateekeddwawo ow'ekitiibwa Deputy Speaker tugenda gireeta ku floor ya Parliament nga tugamba okusookera ddala ow'ekitiibwa eno order gye wataddewo munnange tekkirizibwa mu mateeka kubanga amateeka gagamba orders nga zino ziyisibwa nga statutory instruments. Ani aziyisa? Ministry y'ebyobulamu era n'ezigazeti nga ekyo tekinnakolebwa. Si ekyokugamba nti buli mwalina kusooka kulaga vaccine card ye tekikkirizibwa mu mateeka gonna. Naye okusingira ddala era kitwagala okugamba Speaker, tugenda mugamba ow'ekitiibwa Speaker, twali badde basanyufu nga bannayuganda bwe tulaba nti ofiisi yo yeetabye ku kaweefube w'okuteeka gavumenti ku nninga baleete eddagala mu ggwanga. Kubanga eddagala lyo teririiwo, miliyoni 3 zokka zizakagemebwa, si nti abalala tebaagala kubagema, nedda eddagala teririiwo. Kakati mwagala bannayuganda bakole ki? So ffe tugamba nti bwe kinaatandikira wali ku Parliament, obuzibu obuliwo kigenda kukka ne mu bifo ebirala. Mujja kuba muli awo muwulire Minisitule y'ebyobulamu egambe nti kakati okufuna obujjanjabi mu ddwaliro lya gavumenti olina okusooka okulaga vaccine card yo. Kakati kitegeeza nti bannayuganda bangi tebagenda kufuna bujjanjabi kubanga vaccine cards tebazirina, tebannagemebwa. Lwaki? Eddagala teririiwo. So webuzibu obuli awo bwe kitandika wali mujja kiwulira nga kisse mu bitundu ebirala mu ofiisi endala zonna kijaamu, tekikkirizibwa mu mateeka. Naye n'okusingira ddala bannayuganda bo basibako matugambuzi, baagala okugemebwa, muleete eddagala. So kyetugenda okugamba Speaker olunaku lw'enkya ku floor ya Parliament nti ensonga eno ogikutte bubi. Essira ofiisi yo tusaba erise nkubanja gavumenti eritte eddagala. Tiwokyetabamu naawe nga Speaker naye kiba kyeyongera amaanyi gavumenti nemanya nti ensonga eno eri serious. Ekyo kyamakulu nnyo okusinga okugamba nti kakati abatalina vaccination cards tugenda baggalira bweru. Kubanga Parliament bwekikola nga bwe nkugambye, tugenda kiraba ne mu bitundu ebirala amalwaliro gambe nti nedda tuyingira nga tulina vaccine, ebifo ebirala byonna tuyingira nga tulina vaccine, ate nga kikyamu. Wakati kitegeeza nti bannayuganda bonna abasinga tebajja kufuna buweereza. Yes, Kamali.
Inaye point bbiri esooka tuwulidde ku nsonga y'omubaka Alani wamu ne Segiri, naye ate waliyo abasibe abalala oba oliawo ensangi zino betutawulizaako nga bamacete n'amanyi amalala gesimanyi bulungi. Ensonga ezo zo tulina kuzibuuzaani. Eyokubiri, ensonga z'emityana ez'omubaka Joyi baagala oba n'ez'ekayunga mulinda ddi okuzitutegeezaako ng'abamawulire?
Right? Yes, we need it. Okay, there's many So, as we have said severally, there's many of our colleagues who are still held in jail, political prisoners, as we call them. We have spoken about this matter severally, tabled it before Parliament, etc., etc. And we are not about to give up, because these people are being detained simply because of their political beliefs, not because they committed any offense, but just because they don't agree with Mr. Museveni and they did not vote for him. And so we still insist that all these political prisoners have got to be freed. There are so many, so yes, many times we'll speak about the names that are known, the Sewanyanas, the Sekirinya, the Machetes, and so on and so forth, those who are known, Olivia and others. But there's so many who are not known. So many. When you go to Chitalia, it's like a prison for NUP. When you go to Chigo, the same story. And we continue to demand that these people be free, because they are innocent. They have not committed any offense whatsoever. They are there because they don't agree with Mr. Museveni. And this is a matter we're not going to stop at until all these political prisoners are free. So yes, sometimes we'll mention the names that are known as a representative of everybody else, but there's several, and we demand that all of them be freed. The question of the Honorable Joyce Bagala, I understand she has appealed, or she is appealing. It is within her right to do so. But like we have said severally, the people of Mityana have said, regardless of how all of this goes, they say they are still there. They are the same people that voted for the Honorable Joyce Bagala, and they are ready to vote for her again, this time in an even more overwhelming manner. As far as Kayunga is concerned, we are still handling the process of candidate selection, and once we are done with that process, we shall certainly unveil who our flag bearer for Kayunga is going to be. So the internal process is ongoing, and soon and very soon we shall be unveiling our candidate for Kayunga LC5 chairperson. Mu Uganda ensonga z'abannaffe abakyali makomera, tulina bannaffe bayitirivu abakyasibiddwa, babateekayo eyo si kubanga balina emisango gyonna gye bazza, ne lwakubanga tebawagira mu M7 ne gavumenti ye zonna nga bwe tubayita, babasibako matugambuzi. Tukyabanja abantu baffe bano, bwewaawo oluusi amannya agoogebwako ge gamanyikiddwa, Segirinya, Sewanyana, Machete, Olivia n'abalala, naye tulina bannaffe bangi, bannayuganda bangi abali eyo abatamanyikiddwa, naye nabo bantu bannayuganda, era amateeka galina okugondebwa nga abantu bano ensonga zaabwe zikwatibwa. So tukyabanja ensonga eno tugenda givaako, yo tujja giremerako, batuyite kye baagala otuyita, naye tugamba abantu bano mwabakwatira bweri, lwaki temubata, tebalina musango nga bwemage. So ensonga eno tugenda givaako, tujja giyimba, tugiyimbe, tugiremereko, tukole kyonna ekisoboka okulaba nti bannaffe bano bateebwa. Ensonga y'owekitiibwa Joyce Bagala, nategeddeko nti ali mu process ey'okujulira appeal, era ddembe lye kikirizibwa mu mateeka. Naye okusingira ddala munna abatuuze b'Emityana baze batugamba nti yefe abalonda Joyce Bagala tukyaliwo, nti gyonna gye kinaggweera ffe weetuli tujja kuddamu tumuyiire obululu, in fact n'obusinga ku buli bwe twamuwa. Bannamityana kye bagamba, so bo balindiridde nti kyonna kye kiri weebali kubanga be baamulonda era bakyaliwo. So tuli banywevu ku nsonga eyo. Ensonga ye Kayunga tukyamaliriza process y'okufuna agenda otukwatira bendera mu kalulu akabindabinda aka LC5. So we tunaaba tumaliriza mu kaseera akatali kawala nnyo, tujja kubanga tubanjulira ani agenda otukwatira bendera nga NUP mu kifo kya LC5 chairperson owe Kayunga. Mwebale ngenda kuyita owekitiibwa Sserukenya wange ebyamegemu agenda kwongerezaako katono ku nsonga ya vaccination. Honorable.
Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. Tukkiriza okugemebwa era tukkiririza mu kugema kubanga mu lusawo tonna gye tuyita herd immunity nti buli lwogema abantu 80 ku 100 oba otaddewo ekisenge n'obulwadde obwo obugjeewo. Naye bwe bateekawo etteeka erigaana abantu okuyingira mu ofiises ezimu, nze Brangi ngamba bakipapidde olw'ensonga nti eddagala lino twalisoose direkera abantu abali ku risk ng'aba responders, ng'abasawo, ng'abasirikale n'abakadde, kubanga tukimanyi nti immunity nti bw'ofuna vaccine ekuyamba okufuna antibodies okulwanyisa obulwadde, ate nga abantu abakuze mu myaka abasirikale bwe baba banafuye. Kati n'olwekyo ogamba ffe abayingira offices ffe tusooka okufuna dose. Zo dose zino ntono nnyo, tujja kutwala omukisa gw'abali abasinga okulyetaaga. N'olwekyo bw'otugamba nti December wajja kubawo doses 21 ate nga buli muntu atwala dose 2, tujja kuba twakagemako nga akota oba ku bannayuganda miliyoni nga zijja kuba ntono nnyo ababa bakagemebwako, zijja kuba miliyoni nga 10 abantu abakagemebwa. N'olwekyo tujja kusobola okubawabula ku parliament tulabe nga bakola ekituufu. Mwebale nnyo. We propose that since we have few doses, it's better we give an opportunity to people at high risk, like the responders and the elderly. We believe in being immunized because you create what we call herd immunity. So the herd immunity can kick out the disease from the country. But since we have few doses, we propose that we give an opportunity to people who are at risk, like the responders, like the medical students, the policemen, and the elderly. Because we know with the youth we are strong and our body is strong, so we can fight the disease. But the elderly, their immunity is a bit impaired, so we propose we give them a priority and they first take the chance. So we shall advise them and they do the right thing. Thank you.
Olutalo ngaluwedde tuliyambale ngule, tuliyambale ngule, tuliyambale ngule. Olutalo ngaluwedde tuliyambale ngule, tulivimba mu Uganda. When the struggle is over, shall wear the victor's crown, shall wear the victor's crown, shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, shall wear the victor's crown in a new Uganda. People power, our power.
The inspiration and the best broadcasting around town. KKTV. The global experience. The might. The power. And all you need with KKTV. We are your broadcasting experience. You are watching KKTV.